Track day is the most fun you can have with your car for not a lot of money. However, there is a bit of an issue. What if you like electric cars but don't have 30 grand to spend on a Tesla to go racing around the circuit? Well, me and a friend, that's Adam here on the left, driving a crappy Citroen he bought and modified for a tiny budget around the circuit here in Shanghai, set ourselves the challenge to find the ultimate electric track day car, and what we came up with was this, the LETIN Mango. Released this year, this is directly competing with the Wuling Mini EV and other numerous small cheap EVs. Now, I did say that this is called the Mango, but they've put Men-Go on the back. As you can see, this is a proper practical 4-door Super Mini with a range of a few hundred kilometres and fantastically has rear wheel drive, perfect, I think, for track driving. The other amazing feature of this car is the weight. This weighs just 820 kilograms. This should be fun. Given that this weighs practically nothing, has rear wheel drive and is very cheap, this could well be the best ever EV track day car. But before we tell you more about the modifications we'll carry out, let's have a little walk around the car and test drive to see how it performs its regular duties as a city car.
So we're at the front end of the Mango, or Mengo as it's known on the rear badge, and there's a few features I want to talk to you about. So first of all, I think it actually looks quite cool. It's quite high up and the lights are quite striking. It's got this quite big bulgy bumper area. There's not a lot under here. We had a look in here earlier. There's an air conditioning unit and that's pretty much it. In here, you've got your charger. Unfortunately, it's only a slow charger, so to full in about 6 to 8 hours. They've got a gap here, so maybe they're thinking about doing a fast charger in the future, I don't know. Now, interestingly, this is a rear wheel drive. So the motor is just under here, 25 kilowatt motor. It's not very big, it's about that big. In fact, it's tiny. It's a cylinder like that, about that big. But that's why this is going to be a very interesting car to work on later. Now, opening the boot is a bit of a challenge, as we've discovered. So you've got a key fob, you can open it that way, but there isn't a handle here. So you've kind of got to go in on the inside and wait for the beep. Oh, it didn't go off. And that's how you open the boot from the inside. I think we're just a bit stupid and haven't actually figured out how to do it properly, but that's one way of doing it. Now, the driving in here, as you can imagine, is very basic, but it's not actually too bad for the price. So I have two screens. One is like an LCD screen here telling me my range, and it's in a kind of diamond shape, which is a little bit unusual. Here I've got my radio, my maps, and it's even got a reversing camera. So when I'm reversing, I can see out the back. That's really amazing in terms of features for such a cheap car. Again, it carries across this orange theme. I've got orange plastic in here. It's all plastic. The whole thing is plastic in here, but that's fine. I do have basic air conditioning controlled from on the screen here. And I've got a small dial down here to go into my separate drive modes. Old school handbrake, and I've got an old school key, which is somewhere else in the car at the moment. So keeping the features really nice and simple just to keep the price of this car down. I love how they've done that with the orange paintwork. It just looks so fantastic. What an awesome colour, what an awesome thing to do, especially with these orange seat belts as well, which I'm really a big fan of. Now, like I said, quite a lot of body roll. I can hear a little bit of squeaking as well. But these are basic things which can be improved quite easily. In terms of speed, in fact, it sounds really awesome. It's like, in fact, the speed is not fantastic, but you wouldn't expect it to be in this little runaround. Now, if we talk about the brakes, those are a little bit spongy. You put the foot on and it's a bit delayed. Again, accelerators are also a little bit delayed when you put your foot down, but it does get going pretty quickly. And then we're braking. I mean, not bad for a car which costs just 3 yuan or 30,000 RMB. So what are the modifications that we're going to make to this car? Well, there's only really 5 areas that we can focus on, because we're not going to be touching the electric motor, we're not going to be touching the batteries. That's far too difficult and probably far too expensive, and more likely more than dangerous. So what are those 5 areas? So the first area we're going to focus on is wheels. These are very skinny tyres. Maybe that's good for efficiency. It's really not very good for a racetrack. So we're going to make those a lot better tyres, maybe a bit lighter as well. The next is brakes. These have got very small, not particularly good brakes for the racetrack. They're going to fade very, very quickly, so we're going to put some new brakes on. The next is suspension. Again, this ride's quite high. It's not race suspension, it's quite wobbly, but it's meant to be, you know, it's an eco car, it's not a track day car. The next is stiffness. So we're going to add in some stiff braces in this car just to make it handle a little bit better for going around bends. And there's one more thing before I forget it, to talk about the modifications to this car. Now obviously we wanted it to look really, really cool as well, otherwise what's the point in doing it? So we're going to do some very basic kind of body modifications to this as well. We're probably going to make these a little bit wider. This is already plastic, so it's lightweight, so it's helping us already. So we're going to make the arches a little bit wider, maybe even put a silly spoiler on the back, and we're probably going to add some graphics onto the side as well. On the inside, again, we've stripped it all out. We're going to add in probably a racing seat, and we're probably going to change the steering wheel to a racing wheel as well. It's going to look completely different to this.
Now it's time for the fun part, stripping the interior. With the help of our friends at Tianma Circuit in Shanghai and FRT Racing Team, we set to work. First, the whole interior was stripped out, leaving just the dashboard and one passenger seat. First modifications included the new bum-hugging seat and the racing steering wheel.
As you can see, I'm in a bucket seat right here. We've changed the steering wheel to a more racing steering wheel. And I've been told that this is already a very lightweight car. It's about 800 kilos. So with stripping all of this back, we should be looking at a real hot hatch once we finished all the modifications. All right, so how long did it take you to do the seat and the steering wheel modifications?
首先，这个方向盘是可以买到这些磨砂的这个方向盘，但是底座必须要去定做，花大概要4-5天的时间。座椅也是就是买这个赛用座椅，但是底座也要是经过加工去做定做，这个也差不多也要4-5天的时间。
First exterior modifications were the wheels. These 14-inch wheels were changed for lighter 15-inch wheels with slick tyres. Next up was some flares. Not really necessary, but we need to make this thing look a little cooler.
How this thing is higher?
It's a little bit too high for my liking. It looks like a rally car. It could be doing with a little bit lower, but unfortunately we can't change the suspension. It's not standard. So it's going to stay like this for a while. It's going to be funny to look at driving around the circuit, but it should be a good laugh.
Now with the first round of modifications done and the car looking half decent, let's have a chat to Lao Meng, the racing team boss who is helping us to modify the car.
Hi Lao Meng, what's your feeling about doing the modification to an electric car? Is it the first time you've done it?
之前没有遇到过这个电动车，这是第一次改装。遇到了小小的一点小问题，但是充满了全是新鲜感。这台装的是赛车座椅，然后方向盘，就是还有一些就是一套光胎，一套赛用的轮圈。整体车子会比以前轻很多，差不多700多公斤左右。
Now it's so light. Do you think it will beat the fit over there or not?
加速要强很多。唯一的就是不足的就是可能是在弯道会输一些，就是毕竟现在是车身有点高，还没降低。
So here we are, this is the finished car after phase 1. We didn't quite get to do everything we set out to do. Turns out it's not actually that simple. But with its rally-esque vibes, maybe there's another idea for taking this thing not only to the track, but off-road too. I cannot wait to drive this very, very soon.
Does that look like a rally car?
Completely looks like a rally car.
Join us next time where we'll actually test the car. How fast will it be? Will it beat ice cars on the circuit? Will we have issues with thermal throttling of the battery? We won't know until we try. See you next time on China Driver.